Players around Europe and the whole world have started complaining about the number of matches added to the calendar year. Every season, UEFA, the FIFA, everybody is trying to add more games for fans. But the players are now complaining because they think it's too much for them. Imagine you are playing in the English Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. Now, the FIFA have expanded the Club World Cup for clubs. A whole number of games now. Players are thinking that it's too much games for them. Okay, guys, let's talk about this whole thing. Do you think that players have the right to complain? Because you could say for fans, it's good for us because we enjoy football. Imagine the Champions League we watch on Wednesday, watched on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now they are playing a whole number of games. Now players are complaining that they might burn out before the end of the season. But if you look at generally, do you think it's a good idea for them to keep expanding this game for players?
For me, I don't think it's a good idea, because if you put things in perspective, like I always say, you, like for example, now the season has just started. We are seeing a couple of players still suffering from hangover of not getting enough rest during the preseason, because a couple of them were engaged in Europe, a couple of them were
Copa
engaged in
America.
their countryside, and
Yes.
just 3 weeks into the season, they have to go away for the Nations League and the Common Ball. Yes, international friendlies and the Common Ball and the UEFA Nations League again. Just
Even
3 weeks into
AFCON too.
yeah, even the AFCON qualifiers too. So the games are becoming crowded. The Premier League is 38 matches. If you play for a big team or you have aspirations of winning the FA Cup or Carabao Cup, that adds an extra 5 to 15 matches, just the two of them on their own, added to the 38. If you add the Champions League, last year we had 32 teams. This year it's 36.
32 teams with just 6 games. Now it's 8 games a season.
It's 36 teams now with 8 games in the group. If you not finish in the top 8, you have an extra 4 to 5 more games to qualify for the knockout stages. That makes it close to 70 or 80 games in a calendar year. If you factor in the club competition, the Nations League, if you factor in international friendlies, it could be close to 100 games. And this is, it's too much, and it's crowding the fixtures, because we're saying it the other day. Growing up, we used to watch Champions League on Tuesday, Wednesdays, watch Europa on Thursday, and then Conference League in between Thursday, Friday. Now they block out a full week for Champions League football, and we now have another full week for Europa, another full week for Conference League, and clubs have to also juggle fixtures in the local leagues within Europe as well as this competition.
Look at it this way: you played 6 games last season in the Champions League group stage. Now you're playing 8 games.
And sometimes if you win your first 5, most players will have to rest
them
on the final day.
Now you can't do that because you don't know what the next team is playing. You don't know what if you're not stable in the top 8, because now it's the top 8, then you have a rest of maybe 2 games, because the next feature you'll be having a home and away fixtures to reduce the 9 to 24, the 16 man between 9 to 24. You have to reduce them to meet up with the 8. So you have to play a home and away leg, a knockout phase or playoff phase, to meet up with the final 8 and go on into the quarterfinals and all of that. Now you don't have that team anymore. You don't have that luxury anymore. So you need to play 8 games, be on your top game for 8 games. So you have to be on your top game for at least 38 games in the Premier League, 7 or 10 games in the FA Cups. Carabao Cups, you also have to be there. If you're playing the Europa League, now this is where you say the smaller teams will be enjoying, because come on, after 2 rounds in the FA Cup, they are out. After 3 rounds, after 3 rounds in the Carabao Cups, and they are out. But in the Big Boys League, people who maintain the top 4 spots, they have a lot, and I'm hearing rumors from Rodri saying they might have to go on a strike. They might have to boycott some of the games.
Do you think it's possible?
If the player union, this is where it calls. This is where I call.
Do they have the union?
Yes, they do have.
They have the union. They have the PFA.
Professional Football Players Union. If the PFA is on their side now, if there is no bias, because some players will be like, we have like Chelsea now that has 40 or 50 players in their camp. Chelsea might not complain about it because they have the numbers. Man City might not complain about it because they have the numbers. But teams like Arsenal that don't have the numbers, what do you expect them to do? Seems like Tottenham Hotspur, that the owners don't want to release money to buy players, but yet they want to collect money for tickets. What do you expect them to do? Teams like Barcelona, who don't have the numbers on the bench, but used to can always generate players from La Masia. What do you expect them to do?
And who may also need sales from the tickets too. Let's not forget that.
So definitely it's just like saying the owners are making money from ticket sales and all of that, but it's not reflecting on the players' bonuses. And that is why I will say that the players might have to put up, if their union is as strong as they think it is, they might have to put up with a fight against it and boycott some of these games, because Rodri made a statement and he's been supported by Courtois of Real Madrid. So you see that somebody is making a statement in England, somebody in Spain is supporting him, somebody else in another club, Rodri is from Man City, and Alisson is already saying the same thing.
Yeah.
He's from Brazil and he's playing in the Premier League for a title contending team as well as Liverpool, talking about supporting Alisson in this kind of quest. And Courtois of Real Madrid and Spain, is it Belgium, is supporting the same statement. So it tells you that if they could, because if only the sides from players from Premier League are just making these statements and trying to do it, they'll definitely just reduce the slot. Like they just reduce Premier League players. If people don't want to play, I'll be okay, fine. You people used to have 4 teams in Champions League, now we'll reduce to 3.
I remember this part. I think it's Liverpool when they I think they had back-to-back games. I think the FA Cup, the Premier League, and they needed to travel to play the FIFA Club World Cup.
Yes.
They need to, and the Carabao
appeal for one to be suspended.
No, not suspended. They have to field under the 21s in the Carabao Cup to play. I think they were knocked out.
Yes.
So imagine that now FIFA is expanding.
No, I think that was clubs last season where they played 2 games in one day.
And they
even did the same thing in the what's it called, in the just concluded international friendly games, club friendly games. They played 2 games in one day where one team, and none of those teams went on to lose. There was this team playing this game and there was this team playing this game later. It just I think it was one game around 3.
I think that was a friendly match.
Yes, at 8 o'clock. It happened last season. It happened before. It happened with Man City. Played 2 games, one behind closed doors and the other one openly, and they won the other one openly, and they played. And Man United as well did that towards the end of last season as well. So these big teams that qualify for continentals, the Europa League, the Conference League, and all of that, they have this fixture coming. So I'm just saying it's just a benefit for smaller teams like Newcastle, who didn't go for any continental tournament at all. Teams like Hull City, who are playing in the Championship. These teams now will be looking at, okay, fine, these big boys will not want to play their big feats in knockout stages football like the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, and now you can still see that other smaller teams like Hull City, Leicester City will be winning the Carabao Cup and FA Cup, and you won't be seeing big teams like the top 4.
I think this change in the football calendar is going to require a change in mentality from clubs. If you want to be a big club in Europe now, you have to now increase your squad depth.
I think that was why they increased the number of substitutions to 5.
Yeah,
to 5.
So which means they'll have to increase it to 7. And smaller teams like that will now have to suffer because they don't have that finance to bring in those players. You get, like, you're making 7 subs a game and you're seeing Man City make 5. You're seeing Chelsea make the complete 7. You're seeing Man United make the complete 5 sub. Liverpool making complete 5 sub. And you're playing against these people and you only have 3 players that are credible enough to play your game, like Arsenal right now. And how do you survive that kind of games?
Okay, now we've talked about the players side of and let's talk about the owners and the people that are organizing the competition. Sometimes business, you need to make money. That's the truth. But do you think that it's right for them to increase the number of games? If you're looking at it at the owner's perspective, because it's more for the owners, it's more money for them because they have to sell tickets. For the competition like UEFA, they have to make more money because you know that this format is to counter the Super League.
Okay, now
so I think it's a money thing.
Look at it. I think earlier this year, Real Madrid kind of sent a message to FIFA that they were going to, as the champions of the world right now, that they were going to boycott FIFA World Cup because the price you're giving us to play in the FIFA World Cup after winning is the same price we make for ticket sales. You get
valid points.
As Lucy said, see, I don't know, I can't put my players through that kind of stress. The owner Perez said the same thing. I can't put my players through that kind of torment. Perez called it a torment. I can't put my players, I can't put my boys. That was what he said. I quote Perez now. I can't put my boys through that level of torment.
You see, so it's a money thing.
You get so because
they're not making a whole lot of money.
The club owners are not even making enough money. The only place they make money from is ticket sales because after those games, and look at it now. In these games, like look at it in the Champions League before now, you have 3 home games, 3 away games. Yeah. Now you have 4 home games, 4 away games, which means you only make money from ticket sales. TV rights is being taken by UEFA and they give you peanuts. John, and World Cup as well, the same thing. So
John,
they just
the funny thing about some of this World Cup now, the
expansion of the World Cup.
Sometimes you don't even play home. They take it probably to America. So you might not even make money from tickets.
Like now, who is going to host the next World Cup? The next World Cup will be hosted somewhere, and that is where they'll play the next Club World Cup. So that country, the people, the FA there are making more of the money in conjunction with FIFA. So you see, it just from TV rights, the clubs earn peanuts. And you're telling me, if I'm going to this, because I'm looking at Real Madrid and I'm like, okay, fine, they make a plus or minus 10 million pounds from, or 10,000 euros from one ticket sale. They make more than 10 million from ticket sales in the Santiago Bernabeu. So if you're making more than that for one home game, and you're going to play 5 matches for FIFA World Cup, Club World Cup, and at the end of the season, or maybe end of tournament, the FIFA World Cup is paying you 15 million. It tells you it's a very poor number. It's a very poor number. So I think to keep the players safe, you just need to send in, and you know, most of these teams, and you can't play with the young boys, because when you say I'm playing with an Andagula, who knows Andagula? So you need to play with the big team so that your ticket or your TV rights will sell.
Just to cap it, you can't have one without having the other, because the way it's looking now, if FIFA wants to expand the Club World Cup,
they've expanded it already.
If they want to expand it and they've expanded it, then they should have to top up whatever is going to be the price, and then they should also share TV rights, because clubs are going to stand to gain from that. So you are bringing the winners together for a tournament, and it's going to be a televised tournament. You can't bring them together and say they don't get anything from TV rights. The winner just gets a flat out ticket. It's not right. They need to increase the pocket price. When I say pocket price, I mean the cash price that attendees are going to get, the cash price that the winner is going to get. It needs to go up. Then number two, if we are talking about TV rights club get is not peanuts. It's not peanut. You are calling it peanut, brother. It's not peanut, because
compared to what you get on a very day of selling tickets now. Come on.
How many clubs in Europe can tell you that one night, one home game, they give you that amount? How many other clubs in Europe can say that? Real Madrid can afford to say that because they are one of the biggest clubs in Europe. The same
thing goes for Man United and other big teams, and Man City and Liverpool and Arsenal.
Leave Man United
so
for
I'm
now.
I'm just saying, no matter how you put it, Man United will always generate money from ticket sales.
They will generate from ticket sales, but they need to fill the stadium fair for them to generate that amount, which they rarely do, even on home games. Leave them out of that conversation.
When you talk about TV rights, for example, it's equally shared in England. That's why a club like Bournemouth can buy a 50 million.
Can buy big players, so they are getting good money from them. It's in La Liga where we have an 80-20 sharing, where Barcelona and Real Madrid get lion's share, and other clubs get very little
how you
pittances.
Put it. Other big teams still get, because it is the number of crowd. It's just like viewership. It's not that
Real Madrid pulls the viewership. I understand that.
The regulation in La Liga needs to be looked at.
In England, the split rate is not as much seen, but there's still a gap between teams like the top 6 and other teams. That's one thing you need to understand. There's a gap between the top 6, and that's why I tell you the big 6, because they pay the big 6 more. You can't tell me you're playing with an Andagula that people don't really know, maybe an Hendrick that people don't really know, and I have an Pablo Estevao and Guimea that people don't really know, and I have a Paul Pogba who can drag you attention. I have a Kelvin, I have a Jesus who have more than 10 million subscribers on Instagram and many other social media platforms. They have more than 10 million subscribers to them. You can't tell me they will get the same TV rights pay.
For England they get the same. The difference is the differentials you are talking about is on where you finish in the league. That's where those differentials come in. So if you finish higher, you get an extra incentive on that, but they get the same flat basic, and that grows. That makes for a better ecosystem in England than we have in the La Liga. So saying that they get chicken money, that's not right at all.
Okay, finally, guys, more games as a fans. Now we talked about the players' view, talking about the owners' view. And UEFA view now as a fan. As fans, which one would you prefer? More games to watch, or just let's back the players? Let me start with you, Nosu.
At some point, come on, it's tiring, man. Every week you're coming Monday.
You don't love football.
No, you love football. Come on, but at some point you don't want to watch. You want to play. You want to play. Like on Saturdays now, after the Premier League on Saturdays, in the evening you just chill, play with your guys, But that time no day again, you understand? Midweek, at some point you say, okay, there's no Champions League this week. Let's go and play football. Because before it was this week you play Champions League, the next week is vacant, you understand? upper week you play Champions League again. So that vacant week you can say, okay, let's play among ourselves. As a fan, let's practice what we see these big names do.
Okay, John.
But now we don't even get that time because once they see the big name every time, so it's tiring at some point. It gets tiring.
John, as a fan, what do you think?
I'm going to address what you said, but let me share what my thoughts with you on this matter. For me, I think the number of games is becoming too much. It needs to be capped, especially thank you, but especially in low quality competitions that nobody is dying to watch.
Like FIFA
nobody is dying to watch the FIFA Club World Cup. That's why we only
care.
I'm telling you, that's the truth. Please, let's not be sentimental about this one.
Probably it's expansion.
Final. If we are talking about semi-final, finals, yes, we can watch that one, but nobody is eager to know how the guys who finished in Asian Champions League fought their way to the semi-final. It's irrelevant if you ask me. I'm just giving my candid opinions. Nobody is eager to watch that. Nobody is eager to come and see the teams now that are going to finish from 9th to 24th in the Champions League slug it out over a couple of games to qualify into that pot. I think they should look at that, because any team, if you are an Arsenal side now and you are playing the league, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, and you unfortunately fall out of that 8th position, and you have to now play 9th to 24, that's 16 teams going against each other for 2 games, and then home and away, and then making that extra, that's extra 2 games that you could have avoided. You don't know when it's going to fall into the calendar. It could fall into in between when you need to prep for a top 4 match, and you have to now choose how you want to go into that encounter. And so, but to speak about your own playing football, how many people are still playing football locally?
Come on,
everybody's
John,
on TikTok, social media.
Don't say that.
They are playing Football Manager on their laptop. They are doing other things. Come on, man.
That's for you. Maybe some of us, as much as we do love to watch the game, we also like to exercise ourselves on the pitch of play. It's just what it is.
That's the view we have on this adding more games to players calendar year. They are complaining. Some are saying that probably they might boycott some of the games. Some probably have to play. We have a whole lot of injuries already for Arsenal. I think De Bruyne is already injured already. Whole number of games, because he played the National League, came back to play the Premier League. He's playing the Champions League. So a whole number of games are added to this player, and they are complaining. Some might argue that they pay you people very well, but they come play football, because I saw so many quotes on social media talking about how they pay you. You must. So even was saying that they pay for cable TV, that I cannot be paying maybe 25,000 naira and you will not come and play. So you come and play football. Okay, but let's see what happens throughout this season. After this season, we will see what they are going to be deciding for this number of games played every season. See you guys next time.